So we are about to head into the new year. And if you are starting to slow down, then this is the video for you because this actually is the time that you need to be picking it up, whether it be on your health
Yes.
journey, growing your business, going after your big goals. This is like the secret season that so many people become successful in. And we want to make sure that you guys are doing that too. So my name's Laura Jackson.
And I'm Amanda Quinn.
And today's episode, we are talking about why starting now is so important versus waiting for January. This is our end of the year reset. And so you could finish strong without starting over January 1st, like most people do. And I know we
Mhm.
talk a lot about this, like, in marketing, especially for weight loss and stuff like that. People always say, like, don't wait till January to start over. But so many of us still do it. And I even see myself wanting to do it in December. I'm like, oh, there's certain things. I'm like, oh, that could just wait till the new year. I'll put that off till the new year. Right.
Mhm.
And this is literally the secret success season. That's what I call it because you can get
Yeah.
so much momentum in this time.
You get so much momentum, and there's so many other people that are taking that mindset of this is like break time, put on the brakes, put it on the back burner thing. So if you're just like, I'm gonna like tunnel vision and go forward, you're gonna move a lot quicker because like you have momentum, whereas everybody else is kind of back burner style. So I think that it's funny because the whole idea, the whole concept of, oh, I'll start in January is the same concept that a lot of people have, that obviously we're familiar with in Fit Chicks Academy. People are always like, I'll start my program on Monday. It could be like Tuesday, and they're like, I'll start it on Monday, right? People always wait. Monday is like the magical day for some reason that everybody just chooses because
Yeah.
it's like the start of the week as opposed to just like, I start today, right? And so the same concept is I'll start in January, and then December just becomes like this like party time, wild behavior, like just doing whatever you want, not really like, not allowing yourself to focus on the things that you've been focused on for the past 11 months. You just kind of put them away. And then you spend this month. And I mean, some people would be like, yeah, but that's okay. And it's meant to be this thing. And I'm like, yeah, but you can also utilize every single moment to move you forward because then come January, you're that many steps ahead towards actually getting to that goal.
Well, totally. And if you start to slow down now, then when January hits, you actually feel like you're trying to climb out of quicksand, right? Like you
Yeah.
have no like runway. You think about, if you're going a plane taking off, right? It has to build up the momentum before it actually takes off. And we have this idea that we're suddenly going to hit January and we're just that plane taking off into the sky, forgetting that we need a runway to get the momentum to actually have the energy and the motivation and the right frame to be able to create that goal in January. So, your goal could be weight loss, right? It could be your health journey. You want to start and you're like, "Oh, I'm just going to wait till January 1st and then I'll start eating clean. The holidays, I'll just, forget it. I'm just going to drink whatever, eat whatever, and then January 1, I'm suddenly going to be, motivated and excited to carry this health journey into 2026. Could be your
Mhm.
business if you're a coach. It's like, okay, January 1st, I'm just going to take the holidays to chill. Then January 1st, I'm focusing on my business. But we expect in our brain that we're going to have, like I said, like this like takeoff moment of the plane. But when in reality, that takeoff moment of the plane is built on what you do prior to it. And that's something
Yeah.
for us, which years ago we kind of made the decision that we don't even think about the new year. We don't think about January as like a new year. We don't think about it like especially in our business. Every month is the same, right? There's seasons that in the past we know are typically busier, but we just approach it the same. In December, we keep the momentum going. Yes, we enjoy the holidays and we take breaks and that, but we treat it not as this is a holiday month, not as this is a slower month. Like we don't make those decisions in advance because what happens is you will always prove yourself right. So if you think December is a slower month, December is a month that weight loss is hard, December is a month where I deserve to relax, right? You will literally just prove yourself right. So you will do that. You'll make it harder. You will make it your slowest month in sales, where actually for us, it usually is one of our biggest months of the year, which is funny to think. And December 31st is one of our biggest days of the year. But you will always prove yourself right. So we want to encourage you guys to get out of this mindset because it has been a big game changer for us, right? Like, because when you start to create your life, like it is never, not that it's never ending. I don't want to say it like that, but do you know what I mean? That like every month is an opportunity to keep building momentum and keep moving towards your goals. you get out of that start and stop cycle, which is one of my main goals for all of our clients and our students, like whether it's for your health journey or for your business, like getting out of that start stop, because that's what's actually slowing down your progress because you're not getting momentum.
Yeah. No, that's just it. Like the gap between November and January is where momentum is either built or it's broken. Period.
Yeah.
Like that is just like that time of year. It's the same thing I feel like in the summertime too. The summer months are kind of the same where people it's either your momentum gets lost and then you're basically just picking up the pieces in September and starting over, or but right now I know we're focused on January, but like the December month is really that time of year where if you just allow everything to kind of be like, I'll deal with it later, you're literally breaking down all of those foundations, all those pieces that you've spent the past 11 months potentially building just to give it away, to lose its kind of momentum and its energy, and then flip into January and be like, okay, now let's re-begin, right? And there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse of a feeling than feeling like I have to start from scratch again.
And it's just
Or
stalling
I'm
you.
starting from, well, that's just it. You're like, I was so close. And now I've got to start here again. I was almost there, or I finally was being consistent with X, Y, and Z. Like I was finally at that place. And then you start feeling upset with yourself. You start feeling frustrated. Maybe you start feeling like shame or guilt or all these feelings in January. And then that's what's driving you. And then it's driving you from a totally different place too, which also is totally not necessary.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about a little reset triangle. We're going to give you guys a
Yeah.
little framework to help you maximize this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's so fascinating. So even for me, I'm about to head into my birthday. I'm turning 46, which is crazy. And I have a good friend who she also is turning 46. We had the same day as me. So we are the exact same age, exact same birthday. So we're having a call this week. It's kind of like a birthday coffee date. And in that, though, of course, because, I love me some mindset work and I love goals and I love all the things, I said to her, I was like, I want us to come to the call answering 3 questions. And she's like, ooh, I like this idea. So I said to her, my 3 questions are, number 1, what was like your biggest thing like that you think you changed in 2020, like in the 45th year, in our 45th year? What was the biggest like takeaway? What is the thing that you want to bring into 46, and what is the thing you want to leave in 46 and 45 that you're not going to bring into this next year around the sun? And I think it's just so important that we all take time to actually bring awareness and reflection into our lives, because so many times we're looking forward that we're not taking a moment to really become aware of where we're at. So that is actually the first thing of the reset triangle. The first piece of this framework is you've got to bring awareness into where you actually are right now versus what it is that you want to achieve, right? So we can't change anything we're not aware of. If you've been listening to this podcast or to us for a while, we say this all the time. It's the first step of change. Actually, 50% of change is just becoming even aware of what it is that you actually want to change. So in order for you to kind of start to reset and start to kick in, the change you want to make in 2026, you have to have an understanding of what you're currently doing and what it is that you're going to start to change to move towards that goal. So for example, if you're thinking, okay, I want to lose 25 pounds in 2026. Like January, I want to lose, like that's my goal. I want to drop 25 pounds. Okay. So right now, what are the things that you could change that are within your current control that will start to move you towards that goal? Maybe January 1st is when you're going to join the gym and you're going to do, you're going to go all in on certain things. And maybe because it is the holidays and your schedule is a lot busier and whatnot, that is not a great idea to do that right now. But what are the things within your control that you can do to start to move towards that goal? Instead of going like, oh, I'm just going to forget everything. So maybe it is that, okay, I'm going to do a quick, inventory of upcoming events. And I'm going to look at, okay, I've got all these events going on. What would I eat at those events? Okay, I'm not going to go to the gym. Where can I start to add in some movement? Like a 5-minute walk, a dance party, whatever it is. But starting to look at what is coming in between this time, because it's almost like because you've got to start to build up the habits, right? So you've got to be aware of what you're currently doing. And for a lot of people, that could be, you might want to journal about it for a couple of days and then look at what's happening between now and January, and then start to come up with little strategies for it. Like it's really is that like becoming aware of what it is, and then what are you going to do? What are you
Yeah.
going to do in order to move towards that goal? And it could just be something small, but we've got to make sure that we've got a plan in place, because this is something I think a lot of people don't realize. If we're not aware of what we're currently doing, we're not aware of our goal and we don't have a plan, we don't do anything.
Definitely.
So
And
that's kind of my
I think,
first thing.
yeah, no, for sure. And with the awareness piece, I think one of the things I just want to talk about is the idea of that awareness is, it doesn't have to be like a big judgmental, emotional, shamed thing. Like when you're bringing in awareness, oftentimes people, and I know even I've been guilty of this, where I'd be like making myself aware of maybe habits or I don't know, like my nutrition or whatever it is. And then sometimes you'll like get down on yourself or like,
Yeah.
you're like, oh, and you start beating yourself up about it and you're like, oh man, like I've been journaling my food and like I'm really not eating as clean as I thought I was, like clean, quote unquote, but like, or maybe I'm not moving as much as I thought I was, or maybe I'm not doing this or whatever. And then you start getting down on yourself. But really, awareness is not about judgment, it's about data. This is just you think of it like a scientist, and you're just like getting all the research to pull it in to be like, okay, without judgment, without shame, without guilt, without anything, I'm just going to look at this so I can get an idea of my start point, or I can get an idea of what I've been doing for the past 11 months. Because again, we're talking about going into January, using December to go into January. So it's like, okay, what have I been doing for the past 11 months that has really been working for me? And what am I going to continue to do for the holidays? And I'm not going to wait till January to keep going. I'm going to maintain this and I'm going to utilize these tools that I've already learned over the past 11 months or however long, whether you're starting your journey or not. But it's like, what can I take with me into this next month to keep the momentum so I don't lose that momentum? But I'm going to do it without shame or guilt or anything like that or any judgment. I'm just going to do this as like, literally, I'm a scientist providing myself research and data to make a decision that is based on facts and not based on feelings.
Well, and I also feel like too, this is like a superpower, is really being able to watch yourself and watch your behaviors and be honest with yourself without judging, right? It does take a little bit of practice if you've never done it before and you've never looked at your current, what you're currently doing and not had some thoughts or feelings about that.
Yeah.
It does take some time, like multiple times to do it. So I started doing this years and years ago. In cognitive behavioral therapy, they call it like being the watcher. So it's almost like you're watching yourself, like you're watching a movie, and you're just like, oh, isn't that interesting that, every time at 5 o'clock I drink a glass of wine, or every time that it's Friday, suddenly I'm ordering takeout versus cooking, even though I cook every other night of the week, right? Like, isn't that interesting? So you're not being like judgmental about it. You're just kind of trying to watch and, like you said, collect data just to be like, okay, so I'm looking at these things. Is this going to help me to get to that goal in January, or is it not? Like, where am I currently at? What am I currently doing? And
Mm-hmm.
it really is something that does take a bit of practice, but just that's always my little piece of advice, like adding in that, isn't that interesting? Because it takes you out of judgment into curiosity. Like your brain actually will flip into, because you'll look for, oh, interesting things about that. But I also think this is such an important piece. Like every time, like I was saying before we do everything, I was talking about like, my friend and I having this call. It's like, you have to take a moment and reflect. You have to look at what your life currently looks like, what your habits currently look like. And so many times, and I've seen this with people time and time again, whether it be in weight loss, whether it be in business, is that what we're actually doing versus what we think we're doing is very different, right? So I've had clients say, I'm doing everything. Why am I not getting to my goals? Whether that be like, I'm working on my business. I'm marketing all the time and no one's signing up. But when we actually say, okay, awareness, let's get to the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we at? Like, what are the things you actually have been doing and what are the things you have not been doing? The action does not line up with the result. There's not enough of it, or it's the wrong actions, right? So it's so important because you won't be able to see that unless you take a moment and reflect on it.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll get stuck in that feeling of like, oh, I'm doing everything, which then leads to, forget it, I don't want to do anything till January. So
Yeah.
just taking that moment and becoming aware of where you're currently at, what is coming up for you, like what do you have in your environment that's going to change in December that could, either move you away from your goals or towards your goals. What things have been working for me this year that I'm going to keep doing? What things have not been working for me? Right. So starting that kind of just awareness piece is where we could kind of start to then guide into what actions that we need to put into place.
100%.
So that's where the second piece comes in, which is around alignment. So I love the word alignment, but I feel like it gets thrown around a lot. So the truth is, like, we cannot, once we're aware, you can start to realign. We can't realign until we become aware. So a lot of
Yeah.
times, again, people are trying to jump into January. They're trying to change, so realign their habits, but they haven't taken a moment to do this awareness piece, or they're just starting from like ground zero, right? Because you're just heading into it. You're already depleted because you've done so many things that are not in line with your goals that you're like, hey, I want to flip the switch to realignment. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't do it. So when you become aware of what you're doing, now you can kind of start this realignment process in a way that feels doable. So I always say, like, really alignment, it just means matching your habits, so what you're doing, to your current season, like where you're at right now. And again, I think this is a mistake a lot of people make. The holidays are happening. They're not paying attention to what they have upcoming or what's on their schedule or what they're doing. And then they're trying to start a gym membership in December, right? They're like,
Yeah.
but I've got 55 events to go to. When am I going to fit all this in?
Yeah. But and that's, I think, goes back to like even what you were saying at the beginning, right? Where, if you know and you look in advance and you plan and you become aware of like what is going to happen, then you can be like, okay, I know that like the holidays are busy, but I don't want to put the brakes on. I want to keep my foot on the gas. I want to keep moving towards my goals because I know I'll be happy I did in January. Come January, I'll be happier I did that than the other. But I know that what I was doing for the past 11 months didn't make sense. So I have to align my habits, my beliefs, my schedule, my everything, my eating habits. I have to plan for this and I have to align it based on my schedule. So it's like, I know for sure that if I was whatever going to the gym 5 days a week and that was feeling really good for me, but I do know that in December I'm going to be traveling and I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that, that I can only go. So maybe then it's like you only go 3 times a week, but you do some at home workouts, or you're at a party, or you're going to different events and things like that. So you're just like, I've got to plan for that in advance. Maybe it's that you prepare something in advance, you eat, and then you don't snack as much because you're not really hungry at the parties or whatever. Like if you want to stay in alignment with your goals, but also in alignment with your life, you have to make sure that you're planning for both.
And you have to make decisions in advance. Like, this is the whole. So going back to like being aware of where you're at, I would even say back this up. I would even add pre-work to this kind of triangle. Is you have to decide like like again, what is you want, but you have to plan for these things in advance. You have to decide in advance, like, this is going to be a season that I'm building momentum, and that's something that you and I think has been a big game changer for, especially again for our business, is that like
Yeah.
we decided. We didn't just be like, oh, December is going to be a slow month because everyone always says it's a slow month, or December is going to be a month where we just chill and then we're back in January. We're like, oh my gosh, we're going to decide that December is going to be the most rockin' month of the year. And then
Yeah.
that then lines up neck first, or where, okay, that's where we want to go now. Where are we at right now? What do we need to change? What do we need to do? Right. So it's like you have to decide. So even before going into this, it's like you have to decide, okay, I'm starting this reset. I'm going after my goals starting now. I'm going to build momentum. It might not be to the extent of what I'm going to do in the new year, but I'm going to start to lay that runway and that foundation. But you have to decide that. So as you were saying, like, if not, you become victim basically to your schedule. If you don't
Yeah.
decide, okay, this is my schedule, but this is a priority to me. How am I going to make these two things work together? Because
Yeah.
everything, if not, if you don't decide in advance, you become like at the mercy of, like, everything else will take priority over your goal. Everything will take priority over. So like
Always.
even for us, we tell our team, like, yes, of course we have time off over the holidays, but we're still producing. And we're still, we have deadlines. We're still going, you know what I mean? Like, we're setting up for January now. So, because the truth is your body, your business, like anything in life, it hates extremes. And this is what
Yeah.
we do to ourselves, right? We put ourselves constantly in these extremes, and it's so hard. It's like going on a weight loss journey and you suddenly just cut your calories to like 800 calories a day. Right? Your body's like, what are you doing? And then, your metabolism slows down, it holds on to fat and all this stuff. It doesn't like it. Stay with your business. It doesn't like when you suddenly stop working on your business for a month. It
No,
likes
it likes
consistency,
consistency.
predictability, right?
There was this statement that I read the other day that was basically about alignment, and it says that alignment means progress that fits your life, not progress that fights your life. And I love
I
that
love
statement.
that.
So good, right? Because it's really, that is what it is about. That when you think of the word alignment, I don't want you to think of it as like, you know, that it's like this big scary thing. It's just, it's got to fit your life now. So you have to look at every part of your life and look at December and be like, okay, I'm still moving towards my goals. How do I align this? How do I align goals with life and make it make sense so it doesn't feel like a battle? It doesn't feel like a struggle. Instead, it just feels like this is going to fit. I'm going to make it work because I am committed to my goals, right?
And one thing too that I always found, especially with like my health journey, is that when I stopped treating the holidays as
Like a
month-long event,
yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like I used to totally be one of those people who was all or nothing. Like come December, I was like, forget it. I'm just gonna drink as much booze as I can. I'm gonna eat as much food as I can in the next you know what I mean, 31 days. Like it
And
was
then
just almost like
January,
it gave
I'm going
me
to be super strict and like
yeah,
just
and I'm going to be super strict. I'm going to lock it down. I'm not going out for January. I'm not drinking anything in January. I'm not eating anything, you know, that's out of like off my plan. Like I would be so extreme. But it was almost like it gave me a permission slip just to completely like ditch out on myself. Like in December, I was like, I just gave myself a permission slip to go in the opposite direction. So now
yeah.
when I started to treat December as like there's events in December, and I know on Christmas Day I'm going to eat more or I'm going to, you know, but then I just again plan my habits around that. So I already know, okay, December 24th, I'm going for a long family hike. I'm going to do a workout. I'm going to eat less leading into Christmas Day because I know Christmas Day, Boxing Day, you know, that I'm going to be consuming more. Like I pre-plan
Yeah.
based on the lifestyle, based on what's going on. And I'm a big believer too. Like a lot of people say, oh, just, you know, at least just try to maintain over the holidays, like starting a weight loss journey. I don't even like that mindset. I just like, we're just moving towards this goal and I'm just going to keep moving towards it. This month, again, it may be a month that I'm not moving as fast as I want, but I'm still moving towards it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
We're
Like,
still,
because,
we're still taking steps. Maybe it's not leaps, maybe it's just little
yeah,
baby steps, but
but I'm
still,
moving.
because if not, then you're literally just going backwards. And
And
you
you're
don't want to
giving
go back.
yourself a permission slip to quit.
Yes. Yeah. No, we don't want to be doing that ever. January doesn't have to be this magical month. Just make every month magical. Make every month as magical as you.
Yeah, and that's the thing when I was saying at the beginning about this being the secret success time is because so many people slow down and so many people check out and so many people give themselves permission slips. This is why like the people who are getting the momentum and who understand that there is no start and stop. There is no, it just doesn't have to be warp speed all the time, right? But we're still moving. Those are the people who are getting the steps ahead. So like that's why for me it just has changed, you know, again, my life, my our business, my health, all of my relationship with myself because I've taken it out of this and I just know I'm always someone who's moving towards my goals. We just don't know at what rate that is. Sometimes it slows down a little bit, but not during November and December.
Never.
Okay, so then the third part of this is action. So when you think about it, like alignment starts to, sorry, awareness starts to tell you where you're at. It tells you the things that you're not doing that you should be doing or that you are doing that you want to stop doing. And then alignment starts to give you the things you're going to do, right? You're like, okay, I'm adding my habits in that are in alignment with my current schedule, but I'm deciding. The schedule's not deciding for me. I'm deciding. And then action is how we actually build the momentum. We have to do things. And I think this is a part of the equation. I don't know about you, Amanda, but like I think this is a part of equation a lot of us, including myself, have done kind of forget. Because we start like we're like in our minds, we're like, oh, I got to do this, and I've done my schedule, and I know my current habits, but then I don't do them. Then I don't do it.
I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Because it's like, in theory, everything works, everything makes sense. In your mind, you're like, okay, yeah, I could totally do that. Like I can manage 5 days a week of my gym workouts, and I can manage. Oh, I remember like, you know, I used to go to like Christmas party. I still remember when I was on like a super strict diet and I showed up at a Christmas party and I brought my own food. It was your party. And I brought my own food with me and people were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm in alignment with my goals. Like, you know, but I didn't like it. I didn't end up eating it. I ended up eating the crackers that you had anyways. So it was just like whatever. But I think we get into this place where we think that like all of these things are going to align. They're all going to make sense. And like we I think also over fantasize it sometimes, like in our minds, like we create such a big idea of everything. And then we realize like, oh no, now I have to actually do the thing. And now I actually have to go into the thing and I have to do the work. And then it can be really daunting. So that's why like the awareness is so important and the alignment, like aligning it, because then you're like, okay, my mind doesn't feel so scary now. The month of December is really busy, but I know I've got a plan in place and now I just have to do the work now I just have to commit to actually showing up for myself and doing the work. I always think too, and we talk about this a lot in the academy because obviously we're working with a lot of coaches and we're training people to become coaches. And I always think about the irony of, one of the things that we say to our clients all the time is you have to do the work, you have to be consistent. And then we're in the background, sometimes not being consistent with ourselves. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you have to do as you say and say as you do, right? Like it's that has to be in alignment with you. So if we know that consistency is what gets people to their goals, then we also have to stay consistent with our lives too.
Completely. And I find that what happens too is with action is that we don't, and this goes back to what I just said, we don't have a plan for it. And that's usually what trips people up the most is
Yeah.
not having the plan because it comes down to like, okay, I've got to do this, but they don't know what to do in the moment. And then their primitive brain takes over and primitive brain wants instant gratification. So, like, if you're at the holiday party and you didn't plan in advance, okay, I'm going to, make sure that I eat protein, fiber, and fat, or I'm going to focus on protein at this party. So, even if there's all these snacks, I'm going to really eat the ones that are higher protein. Okay.
Mhm.
Which is such a simple, easy rule. But if you don't decide that in advance of your brain, doesn't have to be a big decision. You just have to, okay, when I go here, this is what I'm going to do. Then you see all of the sugary desserts and all of the booze and all of the stuff. And you're like, oh, what was I going to do again? Right. And you just don't do anything. You just give in to all of those delicious tasting things because they're built to make us feel pleasurable. And so it's having that decision in advance. Like there's so many brain hacks that go into this, but if you don't have that action plan, it's going to be so hard to actually do it. So you just have to set into motion the habits and by deciding first and like
Yeah.
knowing what to do. So three things that I think are like the biggest, easiest hacks for over the holidays, especially for like nutrition, would be number one, eating protein, fiber, and fat. So our complete and three rule. So when you do eat something, make sure you have a combination of those three things. Number
Yeah.
two is hydration. Make sure you are getting enough water. So if you can't drink 2 to 3 liters of water a day, even just starting with 1 liter of water, but make that a priority, especially because there's usually more alcohol involved in the holidays, right? So you are going to be dehydrated, which makes you more snacky. So just try to get in that hydration from water, from herbal teas, watery vegetables, like all of that stuff. And then the third thing is making sure that you're getting enough sleep, which can be really hard. But again, if your sleep is out of whack, everything else becomes out of whack. So just make it a priority too that you're getting enough rest. Even if you have some late nights that you're making a priority, like getting 7 to 9 hours. I know for some people that's not possible, but those would be the three things over the holidays that I would really focus on and deciding in advance for that. I'm going to hit my water goals. When I eat, I'm going to eat protein, fiber, and fat, and I'm going to try to get enough sleep.
Yeah.
And that will get you momentum.
It'll keep you in momentum, right? It'll
Yeah.
keep you into a place of like moving towards your goals. And then I think also mine would be because I know, we're talking about nutrition and we're talking about, but I also just want to mention the mindset piece too of like taking a minute every single day and just reflect back on like, okay, did I reach those goals today? Did I actually show up for myself and hit those goals? And if you didn't, don't judge yourself again. Don't do it in shame. Just be like, okay, what can I do differently tomorrow? Because I know tomorrow I've got this other party that I'm going to, or I've got this other event, or work is really crazy. And how can I make sure that I'm setting myself up for success? So I think doing that like check in, I think that check in should happen on a daily basis. But I think during the holidays, especially because stress levels are high, schedules are crazy, things get busy, it's just a really good opportunity for you to take a moment and be like self-reflect every night. Like, did I do as I said I was going to do to help me continue to be in momentum?
Well, and that's what it is, really about is keeping that consistency. I know it sounds so boring, because we all want this like secret sauce and we all want this one thing that we're going to do, right? Which is why we love the extremes of the holidays, which is why we love to like give ourselves the permission slip to completely blow December like it's a month that doesn't even matter, and then make
It doesn't
January
exist.
this like hardcore month. Like poor January and poor December. It's not getting enough attention, and then but it really is, I remember in our business someone once said to us, they're like, what you're experiencing right now is the result of what you did 6 months ago. And that always stood with me because I think about that in life too. So many times, because we want that result so bad. And when we're not seeing it in front of us, we think it's not working, right?
Mhm.
It's not there yet. But everything has a gestation period. Just like, you plant a seed and it has to grow into a flower. There's time between the planting and when you see the flower. So it's like the same thing with your goals. So every time that we start and stop like this, it's like not watering
You
the
got
plant. You just let that
yeah.
seed die and you got to go back and plant another seed, right? So when you show up throughout the holidays, when you keep those habits going, when you show up in your business and you keep posting and you send the emails and you launch the workshop and you do the things, you're keeping that energy flowing, you're watering the plant, and then you'll eventually get to that result. But the
Mhm.
only way you won't get there is if you quit. And so many of us are quitting on ourselves too early or putting pressure on ourselves, too much pressure. And then in January, all you're going to do is self combust
Yeah,
because you're going to put too much pressure on. So
definitely. So don't
I
wait for
just
January. Don't wait
know.
for January. The reset starts the moment that you decide to stop starting over. Like that's it. You have to decide that you're going to stop stopping. You cannot keep stopping. I remember one of our mentors said that once, stop stopping. And I was like, I love that because it's so true. If you decide I'm going to stop stopping and I'm just going to keep going and whatever, it might look different, but it's still going to keep me in momentum. That's what's going to get you the results that you want. That's what's going to help January become amazing. And eventually, December might become your best month of the year too.
Totally. I love
We love
December.
December. We love
I
it.
love December.
Amazing. It's amazing. We've reached so many like milestones and goals during the month of December. It's sick. Love it.
Well, and that's what it starts with. So decide, everybody, that this last part of 2025 is going to be the time that you build momentum. Make that a mental decision. It's not just about the holidays. It's not just about family and friends. It's those things too, right? We're not saying, oh, you've got to not enjoy anything. Like that, again,
Yeah,
that's
and you're
just a
like,
mindset
go
thing that
away.
people think. Yeah, it's just a mindset thing. Like this is just all your life, right? There's not just these seasons that are like suddenly your life goes on hold or kicks into high gear. It's all your life. But make the decision that you're going to make December amazing. Take a step back, look at what you're currently doing or what you've done in the past in December's, right? Where are we starting from? Look at your current schedule, align your habits, that what you can do to move towards your goals with what your lifestyle looks like. And again, you might ramp that up in January. And then you've got to do it. Take the actions, do the things. Don't let your brain start to talk you out of it and be like, oh, just put it off till January. We'll have the energy, we'll have the time, we'll have the whatever. No, because this is also part of retraining your brain to become a different version of yourself. And the version of yourself who will be successful is somebody who does not start and stop. I'll tell you that.
Exactly.
You just make your life so much harder every time you start and stop. It's those little consistent things. So
Yeah.
water your seeds, people. Water your seeds.
Mhm. Yes. Do
Okay,
not
everybody.
let them die over December, please. Keep going.
No, or just don't, it's so fascinating to me. This is the last thing that I'm going to say that, we want these things so much and we just forget that all it takes is for us to take the actions consistently. Like it's not that hard. It's simple, but simple is harder than easy, right? Like we all want it to be easy. It's simple, but for so many of us, we don't find it easy because we try to make it hard by doing all these other things. And it's like, it really is in those little actions, those little movements, those little moments.
Yeah.
So just keep moving, keep moving. And let's make December the best month of your year.
Yes. Love
I love
December.
it. I love December. Okay, everybody, have an amazing day. And of course, if you want to learn more about our upcoming certifications that we have, if you're planning now, we actually are going to be opening up some fast track certifications for those of you who actually want to take December and move towards your goals, get certified, and head into the new year with a whole new skill set. So make sure to check it out, fitchexacademy.com. And if you have any questions at all, you could also email us, hit us up on any of our social medias, and also let us know below in the comments who is kicking off your December. Who's going to make December the best month? Drop a fire emoji. We'd love to see it. Okay, everybody, have an amazing day, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.